Hello? Are we live? Are we here? Is it happening? Okay, I think we're good now. I think that we're good now. We were having issues getting this started. I had to say an extra prayer just to get all the Wi-Fi working. Hello, good morning. If you are new here, my name is Lauren B. This is the Untitled Tarot. This is my channel. I do a lot of things here. I do tarot, I do oracle, we talk a lot about God, we talk a lot about Jesus, we do Sunday service here, we put the Trinity back in the tarot. We do a lot here. I have a very busy day of readings and all kinds of catching up and stuff to do. I've been sick all week. But so I wanted to sit down this morning and start with my scheduled readings that I have planned to do. And, you know, it's strange. Normally I don't do, hi, Erica. How are you, my love? I don't normally do, like, live generalized readings. Like, sometimes I'll come on here and I'll do, like, the collective coffee where I'll go through, like, all the signs. Or sometimes we do hangouts here. We just kind of, like, hang out and shoot the shit, like, whatever. Good morning. Hi, Cooking Revolution. But there's someone needs something. Someone needs a word. Someone, I don't know why I'm doing this. Someone needs a reading. Someone needs encouragement today. I don't know who you are. Maybe it's a lot of you. I don't know what sign you are. I don't know. Hi, Sunsweet Light. I don't know, but someone needs something. So I'm here to do that for you. Off course. Oh, J-Bean, my love. Charlize, hi. Someone is feeling very discouraged. Someone is barely holding on. Someone is like about to give up. Someone's about to give up. You know, like hope. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but not on my watch. Not on my watch. So, you know, I sat here and I was listening to some music and trying to understand the energies that I was like pulling in, you know, because they, you know, like I'm a person. So like I go through my own energies and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes there are waves that hit me and I'm like, this isn't all mine. And so I know it's someone's. That's right. Change is coming, Charlize. Tracy, hi, good morning. Donna, good morning. Everybody, good morning. Yeah, I was sitting here and I was listening to some music and I look outside my window and the turkey vultures are back. The turkey vultures are back. And I've been sitting up this chair for like 35 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that, watching these turkey vultures. You know, and I was thinking about how I did that little video a couple weeks ago about turkey vultures and how symbolic they were. Maybe there's something about a couple weeks ago is kind of coming back around for you. Whoever this is for, all of you, I do not know. I do not know. You know, and turkeys represent Thanksgiving, being grateful, right? Being thankful for the experiences. Remembering that when you are a child of God, there's no such thing as bad luck because everything is always working out in your highest of good. Anything that could possibly be construed as bad luck is merely a blessing in disguise. That's why I say a change in perspective will change your whole entire life. That's why we flip it and reverse it here. I pulled out a card out of my deck a little while ago and it was the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And I just looked at it and I was like, well, and I just flipped it upright. And I was like, now the Wheel of Fortune's upright. How do you like them apples, right? Sometimes we really have to use the stubborn energy that we sit with that really keeps us bogged down and really keeps us in like a negative place where we're like barely hanging on and like grasping at straws, climbing for air, and we just flip that over and be like, nope, I'm going to be stubbornly optimistic, right? Because what other choice do I have? And then, oh, the vultures are back. The vultures are back, right? The vultures are very representative of clearing things out. It's cleansing. It's been raining here for days. We're getting the tail end of the hurricane that's coming through. That's been like tearing up Louisiana, all over the place. It's awful. I hope we're all keeping everyone in our prayers so they're nice and safe. You know, and in that video a few weeks ago, I was talking about how turkey vultures were really symbolic of us being thankful for the things that God separates us from, the clearing that he does, the cleansing that he does. Sometimes it's from situations, sometimes it's from people, sometimes it's even from aspects of ourselves when we're too much in our own flesh, right? Because when you're too much in your own flesh, you belong to this world. You idolize things. Money consumes you. The pursuit of a person or a social status, it consumes you, right? Other people's opinions of you, it consumes you, right? It separates you from yourself, and in yourself lives God, and so it separates you from the divine, and then you feel abandoned, you feel rejected, right? And maybe the world does that too, but God doesn't do that to us. And I was sitting here and I'm looking at the turkey vultures and I'm like, I was like, what are they eating? And it clicked in my head, ticks. Turkey vultures scour around, they find and they eat ticks. What are ticks? Well, something else is coming to my head. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Ticks are bloodsuckers, right? They find something that's full of life. A deer, a cat. I noticed a tick on Brooklyn, the family cat earlier, right? And they just suck, and they just suck, and they just suck the blood, the life force out of this thing, right? Until either it gets retracted or it just has consumed so much that it just explodes. It's filthy and disgusting, right? And so sometimes we don't know why we're being separated from something. Sometimes we think that something really is good for us, right? Or we really care about something, or we've invested a lot of time or energy into something, completely unaware of the fact that this thing is like siphoning off, almost like an energy vampire, like siphoning off energy from us, siphoning off love from us, siphoning off like good intentions, right? And we don't even know it until this thing either explodes or someone like points it out to us, like, hey, did you realize that thing's like actually not that good for you? And you're like, what do you mean? Right? There's a thing there. There's something in that. But now I'm also thinking ticks. The Holy Spirit brought it to my attention, like ticks. What's like a tick, right? Like my, one of my nieces, she like gets ticks, right? Almost like tremors, like these things. But a tick is almost like a little bit something like an ism. I don't know if you're following me. It's a little bit of, it's like a habit. It's like a habit that we do, a thought process that we carry around. It's like a thing that we do and we don't even realize. It's like when you're sitting there and you're biting your nails because you're nervous, and you don't even realize that you're biting your nails because you don't even realize that you're nervous. It's like this tick, this thing that's happening. And so there's something about that too, that there's like a wheat from the tare, or like a sand sifter sort of energy that's going around too, where perhaps we are in a position with this full moon in Taurus coming up. And I did half of the mini monthlies. I'm finishing the rest of the mini monthlies today. And one of the themes of the Taurus mini monthly for November was learning how to remix, right? That things may not come in the way you think that maybe they will. Spoiler alert. So shocking for us, right? And to be really like flexible and adaptable in that, right? And one of those ticks that we have is that when things don't go our way or the way that we think that they should be, hi Dina, hello, that all of a sudden we go into immediate abandonment, immediate rejection, right? Or if we make a mistake, all of a sudden it's like a tick that we have. We immediately go into self-loathing. We immediately go into this energy where we're like beating ourselves up and being our own worst enemy. And I was talking to myself last night and a little bit this morning while I was sitting with the Lord. And I was like, like, I don't really care what anybody has to say about what I'm doing, like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you're grown, Lauren. Like, there's no one around to bully you anymore. I was like, so don't bully yourself. Like, you don't have to bully yourself. You don't have to become your own oppressor. And there's this thing, and there's energy, I feel like going around that it's like, while you're being prepared for your new season, while things are lining up for you, God is, like I said, processing you, preparing you, putting things in place in order. God is a God of miracles. He's a God of wonder and a God of goodness, but he's also a God of order. He likes things in steps. So I don't know, even like if you on my camera, I can see it. There's 3 thumbs up and there's 11 people in this chat. 311, Ecclesiastes. He's made everything beautiful in its time. In its time. God made time. There's no such thing as being behind schedule when you're in God's will for your life. He likes things in order though, right? There's a foundational, there's a building blocks. That's why he builds strong towers that do not crumble. So sometimes in order to satiate our own scarcity mindset, our own fear, our own feelings of lack, whatever it is, sort of that instant gratification, we try to circumvent. We try and like hop. I'm getting hopscotch. We try and like hopscotch over like the proper order and timing of things. And then when God kind of like steers us back a little bit or starts separating us from things in order almost like to corral you, right? It's like a private tutoring. Like you're not doing, the other kids in the class are distracting you. So we're going to put you in aftercare. We're going to put you with like the support teacher, your guardian angel, your regular angels, whatever it may be. And we're gonna like work on this chapter with you like privately, because something about what's going on, the energy in the classroom with the kids, it's distracting you. We can't have you distracted because this is a really important lesson to learn, right? And it's like the kids are also like these little ticks in the classroom. Like they don't realize it. Maybe they're not even doing it on purpose, right? Like a tick isn't like moving about like all maliciously with like these evil plans, right? It's not like that. But they're just like excited and they're just doing things and they're just like picking apart their eraser because that's just what they do, right? And you're just like, I can't stop staring at them. I can't stop staring at them. Meanwhile, the teacher's talking to you. Jesus is trying to like teach you a lesson over here and you're like, I can't. Bobby keeps tearing up that eraser. What's he gonna do with it? What's he gonna do with it? How's my hair look? Somebody in the back, somebody sitting behind me looking at my hair. Does it look funny? Does it look funny? My shoes are kind of wet. It's raining outside. I wonder if the other kids can hear them squeak, right? And it's like you're supposed to be paying attention to that lesson, but it's like, all that energy around you, it's too much. It's overstimulating you. So you can't actually like get to the root of what you're supposed to be learning. And so God separates you. Private tutoring. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually not a symbol that you're in trouble. There's this energy of like, I did something wrong. I'm in trouble. Like there's something wrong with me. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. So now I'm in trouble because my blessings are being delayed. Something's like, I'm being punished. I'm being punished. God's mad at me. And it's just not so. It's just not so. Like the only way you can really disappoint God is when you don't sit in faith, right? Like the further you get in your walk, like there's different levels for everyone, right? And God takes us through them all individually. But, you know, at the very root of it, it's have faith, love God, love people, be humble and kind. It's like pretty simple stuff, right? It's like the golden rule. They teach that to you in kindergarten, right? Do unto others, you would have them do unto you. It's the golden rule. It's basic. Like it's easily comprehensible even for a child, right? And God likes it when we sit in faith that is like a child. Just, oh, it's a butterfly. The world is amazing. Yeah, you can have some of my sandwich. That's fine. I need help over here. Like I can't tie my shoes. Like, right? You know, like kid doesn't get mad at itself when it gets frustrated or it has a bad day. It just is like, I'm sad today. Like, can I have a hug? And then it gets its hug and then it's like, thank you. And then it just moves on. Like we really overcomplicate it so much for ourselves. It's really quite a shame. And like I said, sometimes we don't realize that we're in an environment. We're sitting in an energy that there are people around us that probably not in a malicious way, honestly, are acting as sort of symbolic ticks. They're pulling too much energy from us, especially if you are like a very potent energy source. You shine super extra bright. You're very intuitive. You're very giving. You're very self-sacrificing, right? There's something to that. And in their ticks, it triggers your internal ticks to get anxious and to get fearful and to beat yourself up and to become very worrisome, right? And then it creates this like a tick, tick, boom. And then you have this like emotional outpouring, especially with this Taurus full moon coming in, that's just like out of control, right? Which part of what full moons do is they're supposed to purge you. It's supposed to get all of the excess out. And so someone needs like a word. Someone needs a reading. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know who this is for. I don't know what your sign is. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I love you. I love you very much. I don't want you to sit in that energy at all. I'm like going off this morning. Do you see the light? The light's going off. I'm going off. Krista, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. So I pulled a deck. I pulled the, what's this called? The Dreams of Gaia. Dreams of Gaia Tarot, which is funny. Taurus, full moon, Earth, Gaia, Earth. One card did fly out earlier. It is the Three of Earth, the Three of Pentacles. And the thing that's so gorgeous and beautiful about this card is one that I noticed, it's like his hand as he plants these little acorns, right? And there's the squirrel. And we always talk about how squirrels they're an energy of having fun, taking risks, believing in yourself. They take on a little bit of that fool energy, but it's also about where you're expending your energy, right? Because a squirrel spends all this time and energy to find all these acorns, to find all these nuts, right? And then store them away. But then meanwhile, it loses most of them that it finds and hides, right? So again, it's like, where are we putting our energy? Is the energy that we're putting into being fearful, anxious, worrisome, I'm in trouble, I gotta do more, treating yourself like a machine, like treating yourself like a workhorse? Is that the best use of your energy? I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is. And his hand here, if you see, it's like he's going to plant these acorns and he's bleeding. He's bleeding out as he does it. And there is this energy of putting like blood, sweat, and tears into the things that you're doing, right? Honesty, commitment. But if you actually notice, and I've never even noticed on this card, he has no like legs almost. Do you see? It's almost like part of his lower body is like part of a trunk of a tree. But then over here, he has one leg. It's like one leg in and one leg out, right? It's kind of, again, it's this concept of, almost in the Rider-Waite Tarot, how the Seven of Wands card, the man is sort of standing on two different worlds, two different timelines with like a big wand in the middle. And it's like the lands are separating. The lands are separating. Again, it's that vulture spirit energy. It's that clearing. It's that cleansing. It's like tectonic plates moving apart that sooner or later you're going to have to pick a side of the fence, right? It's like, are you going to be like in the world of man, or are you going to return back to your natural state, which is an extension of creation, an extension of God, something that always can grow, where your roots are also in yourself, right? It's like this beautiful and crazy energy, and it's all night. It's night back here. So it's also the idea that whatever process you're going through, it's very solitary and it's very private. Like, you're not expressing yourself to other people about this process that you're going through. And honestly, I understand that, because so much of like our personal walks wouldn't make sense to people that don't walk in faith and don't experience the things that you experience, right? You know, God always says like his people perish for lack of knowledge, right? You know, if I were to explain everything that I go through in my walk to everyone that I meet, they would probably throw me in the loony bin, right? And that's okay. So it's like some of this stuff you have to keep to yourself, but there is also this energy that if there are people, say in the honeycomb, me, I know you guys make friends with each other, like on the channel, in the chats, which I love, that brings so much joy to my heart. Like, if there is somebody of faith, there's somebody like in this community that you do like connect with, to reach out a little bit. Maybe we need to start like prayer partners or ascension buddies or something over here. But there is something about that to connect with people that understand a little bit more of what you're going through. Connect with people that understand a little bit more of what you're going through. So it's you're not feeling so alone and so crazy through it. Because to sit in a promise from God with no tangible benefits that you can see, right? Like if you were to say to someone like, I did this, or I'm not doing that, or I made this decision because God told me to, like, a lot of people would be like, what is the matter with you? What? Right? But if you were to say it to me, I'd be like, oh, good looks. Yeah, you follow your instructions. Like, absolutely, be obedient. Cool, like, I support that. There's something to that. There's something to that. But also, in part of this solitary, this private tutoring, there is so much growth around you. And you're so focused, right? It's like he's focused on his hand that's bleeding out. It's like all of the sacrifices, all of the stripping, all of the things that you've had to give up to get where you are, and to get where you're going, without actually seeing yet where you're going, without seeing like the tangible benefits, the blessings manifested, right? It's like you're almost missing the actual beauty and process of what's happening around you, what's happening inside of you. It's the idea of, you know, my partner's not here yet, like my dream job's not here yet, my dream house isn't here yet. Like, when are you going to bring it into the natural for me, God? When are you going to bring it into the natural for me, God? And meanwhile, God's sort of looking at you. It's like, take your hand out of the dirt for a second, like brush the blood off of your hand and just look side to side. Look up. Stop looking down for a second and look up. Look at everything we've grown. Look at everything I've done for you, right? It's like you're part tree now, right? It's like you have all of these flowers, you have all of this beauty, you have all of this brilliance. You've learned to temper yourself. You've learned to forgive people. You've learned to, have a little bit more empathy for yourself. You've learned to accept the fact that you're not perfect, and that's okay, right? You've learned how to expand your heart. You've learned how to be bigger than your burdens, bigger than your pain, bigger than your fears. You've learned to have faith and trust in something that you cannot see, which is something that so many people couldn't even fathom to do. You have strength now. You have courage. Look at all of these beautiful things that you have, and yet you feel like you have nothing. You feel like you have nothing because you do not have the things of man, right? But it's, first seek the kingdom and the rest will be added to you, because at the end of the day, you could be the richest person in the world and you could be lonely and you could be miserable and have nothing and have no love in your heart and have no joy in your soul. And a song comes on and there is nothing in that melody that will move you and lift your spirit. And everyone that comes past you all day, they could leave you and feel worse being in your presence than they did before they got to you. And you could have all of the money in the world and not do a thing to help another person, not do a thing to enrich another person's life. But meanwhile, by the world's standards, you could have nothing. You could have no money. You could have no husband or wife, right? You could not live in a nice house. You could live in your car. But to God, if you are being open and loving and kind and humble, and when you see a need, you go and you meet that just because it feels like it's the right thing to do for you. And you have no TV and you have no phone, but you can sit on a park bench and watch a bird fly past you, and just the bird singing is like a symphony to you. Like, God relishes in that. He relishes in mercy and kindness. Like, that is so much more. That is spiritual richness, right? That is emotional richness, and that is worth its weight in gold, because that is a thing that this world does not have for you. It will never give it to you, right? The devil is a liar. Like, he'll tell you need to have that ring on your finger. He will tell you that you need to have that big house. He will tell you that you need to have this many likes on Instagram and this many followers on YouTube, and you need to look a certain way and you need to act a certain way. And like, says who? Says who? This world does not get to define you, and this world does not get to tell you that you deserve to be sad because you don't look like, act like, sound like, do the things that they are doing. They were so happy, then why are they so miserable? If they were doing everything right, then how come they're constantly seeking that praise, that attention, that validation, that confirmation, all of that? It's a never-ending cycle. It's a bottomless pit. Look at this self-reflection. Look, it's so beautiful. It's like when you actually hold up this mirror to yourself, you see how you glow, right? And it's almost like not even really wanting to smile. It's like not even really wanting to admit to yourself, like, hey, I'm beautiful. It doesn't matter. Hey, I'm beautiful because my heart is full, right? It's like my soul sings. I can find peace and joy in like the tiniest little things. I can find God in the pots and the pans. I don't need to go to some mega church. I can just sit in the woods by myself. I could just sit in my car by myself and just have like a quiet moment and feel a breeze across my face and know that that's God with me, right? Like, my God is still good. It's like almost not wanting to admit it because, I said it in... I forget when I said it. I forget who I said it to. I think it was in maybe an email to one of you guys. And they were talking about like stress and fear and anxiety and all that stuff that they were struggling with. And I was like, stress, fear, anxiety, and people like to say like, that's just the way of life. That's just the way it is. That's just part of the process. Like, no. What if it's not? What if stress and fear and anxiety, what if it's not part of the process at all? What if that's not just part of life? What if stress and fear and anxiety and being worried all the time, what if that is your body's natural reaction to something that is foreign, right? Like a tick, something that's siphoning off your energy, something that's siphoning off your blood, your life force, your good juju, whatever it is that you want to call it, right? What if when those feelings come up inside you, that is not the natural state of life? What if that is your body's natural reaction to a foreign invader, a foreign energy, something low vibrational, right? Could it be that that is the case instead? And that is why when we're sitting in like joy and excitement and happiness and praise, and you ever just have one of those days where you just wake up and you just feel like shiny and new, and you're just like, I don't know what they put in the water today, but I feel good. Every song you're like, yup. And somebody cuts you off in traffic, or somebody gives you a side in the grocery mart, and you're like, have a good day. I don't know what your problem is, but enjoy it. I gotta go, right? And you're just like so happy, and you're just like fucking grooving. You're just like jiving with the day, right? That feels so good, and it feels so easy, and you always have that thought in your head, and you're like, God, why can't I feel like this every day? This feels awesome, right? Maybe the reason that feels so good and that feels so easy and it feels so light and happy and like bouncy, right? It's like that bouncy energy. Maybe that's your body's natural reaction to something that is like you, something that is good for you. Like when you're thirsty and then you drink water and you're like, that feels so good, right? Maybe that is the natural state. Maybe fear and anxiety and worry and anxiousness and all of this stuff, maybe that is your body's natural reaction to a foreign energy, a foreign invader trying to suck the natural essence out of you, which is love, which is lightness, not just the light that you admit, but actually a form of a lesser density, right? Because the earth is a 3D, it's carbon atmosphere, it's carbon body, it's dense down here. Whereas when we ascend, we literally become lighter, right? And then we're just like, I trust the process, and God always takes care of me, and he always fulfills his promises, and everything's good. And you feel better in that because that actually is your natural state, right? We forget so often that the world is mean sometimes. Like people can be mean and can be cruel, and so often it's not because they intend to be necessarily, but it's because they are victims of their circumstances, because they don't know that there's another option for them, right? They don't know that there is redemption and salvation, right? When God said that he saved you and that you're forgiven and that your slate is clean, he means it. He means it, right? And for those of us that are saved and for those of us that are believers, it's like in our logical minds, we know that. We're like, God rescued me. Like, I used to be doing this. I used to be doing that. I used to have nothing. Like I used to feel like no one. And he's made me into somebody like through him, right? Because he's so good. And he told me that I'm forgiven. And he told me that my sins are cleared. And he told me that I have a hope and I have a future. But we don't believe it. We don't believe it, right? And it's sad in a way, because it's not believing God. And it's because people lie all the time. They lie to us. They lie to themselves. We feed off of lies we tell to ourselves all the time, right? As if it's nutrition, and it's not. And so this world has conditioned us to think that everything that exists is a lie. And the one thing that is true is God, right? It's like, he told you that your slate is clean. If he told you that you're forgiven, he told you that your best days are ahead of you and not behind you, you have to believe that too. That's part of the co-creation aspect. You have to believe it. Like, no, my slate is clean. I'm not a sinner anymore. Like, I am not who I used to be. For me, it's like I used to do a lot of things that I don't do anymore. I had a very promiscuous time. I had a string of I was a serial monogamist, as they called them, after my very promiscuous time. I had times where I woke up at 11 o'clock in the morning, pissed drunk, because I got super drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning off a pint of SoCo. Like, happy college days. Like, a year and a half ago, I was smoking like ounces and ounces of weed just because I was like, it's medicinal, it's fine, it's for my anxiety. Meanwhile, I'd be sitting there smoking and I'd be just as anxious as before I even did it, right? And God saved me and cleansed me of that and cleared my slate. And then I walked so long being like, oh, well, I used to do this and I used to do that. And I was like, yeah, but Lauren, what do you do now? Like, what kind of woman are you now? What are you doing today? I'm like, well, let's make a little list. I'm like, well, I prayed and, I said thank you to God. And, I said sorry for if I did anything wrong that day or if I wasn't, my best self. And I tried to forgive that person, even though it was hard for me. And I tried to be kind to people today. And I tried to be gentle with myself today. And I tried to put more good into the world today than there was when I woke up in it. And okay, well, let's talk about that. Lauren. Like, let's talk about that. And the same thing goes for you. Like, quit beating yourself up about the stuff from the past, right? And something that was so interesting, thank you, Holy Spirit, that they're bringing back to my attention is the vultures before, they were like in grouping. It would spin two the whole time. They would come in a group and then they'd separate, and they'd come in a group and then they'd separate, back and forth, back and forth. And it kind of almost reminded me of like the scales of justice, like the scales of justice. And it's this idea that a lot of you are sitting in an energy where you feel like things are coming together and then they just fall apart. Things are coming together for you and then they immediately just fall apart afterwards. And you're like, but I thought I just got it all together. And then when they come apart again, you're like, I must have screwed up. Like, I must have done something. I must be being punished. Like, I must be. And that's not necessarily the way it is. It's like the ocean. It ebbs and it flows. It ebbs and it flows too. It's like you can't unpack everything all at once, right? That would be treacherous for us. It would be overwhelming for us. And God knows that. So he does it bit by bit. Do it all. Raise you up. Get your vibration. Remind you of how you feel. Remind you of who you are. Remind you how loved you are, how worthy you are, how deserving you are, right? Like, and it's not because of your good works. It's not because like you got a gold star on your chart. It's because like God is so good, right? Like, you are his child. And so because you are his child, like, he gives you a seat at the table. He lets you be something that otherwise without him, it would be so hard for us to do that. You know, there were plenty of times where I used to pat myself on the back and I used to be like, you're such a nice girl, Lauren. You just do so much for everyone and everybody screws you over, but you're just such a great girl. Like, no, cool. No, I did nice things for other people because I was prepaying for favors. I was prepaying for people's opinions of me. I'd be like, well, if I go out of my way now and I do this for them, then they're gonna think I'm a nice girl. So when people ask them later, they'll tell them that I'm a nice girl, and then everybody will think that I'm a good person, right? Because I don't feel like I'm a good person, and I don't want to have to be accountable to something bigger than myself. So I'm gonna just overextend myself constantly to other people, so that way they think I'm a good person, because their opinion of me matters more than my opinion of myself, right? And that's sitting in pride, and that's sitting in ego, like a lot of ego. It's really crazy the way that we do that. We really do that, right? It's like, it's not because like of our good works. Like, you can't buy God's favor. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not how it works. That's why it's always like, thank you and praise you, because like we don't deserve it. Like, if I think of every bad thing I've ever done in my life, even the things that like I did under the guise of doing something nice for people, half of the time it was like with some kind of agenda to it. Like, well, if I do this, then they're gonna think I'm nice, and then they're gonna love me more. Like, then they're gonna think that like I'm good girlfriend material, right? Like, no one's gonna be able to say anything bad about me. Like, I'm gonna do this because I'm like covering my own ass. I'm like, you know, I'm hedging my bets over here, like thinking that I'm walking in some kind of like righteousness. And it's like, no, you're not. It's like you're trying to play a game with other people. You're trying to play a game with the world. You're trying to play a game with yourself. And guess what? When you do that, everyone loses. Everyone loses. Most importantly, yourself. Whereas when like you can go forward and you have that moment, that coming to Jesus moment, and so many of us have it, and be like, you know what? I fucked up. Like, I made a lot of really bad decisions. I have not been super great to other people, and I've been really bad to myself. And at no point in the time did I ever say like, thank you. I never said thank you, like completely unaware of the fact that like at any moment, no day is ever promised to you that, you know, how many times did someone cut me off in traffic, and that could have been the last time I ever got cut off? How many times when I got sick and I complained about it, not realizing how much sicker I could have been, ended up in the hospital, you know, like it's just little things like that. It's like these small moments of appreciation and of gratitude, whether they're big because it's your twin flame or your kingdom marriage or your union or your big job or that big paycheck or that big thing, right? Or if it's something just small, like, hey, I didn't end up in the hospital this week. Like, I got contact dermatitis like 2 weeks ago. I didn't even realize that I had it, and I compounded and I compounded and I compounded, and I was sick all week, like from my body trying to heal. And I went through it. I'm like, is it because I'm being vain? Is it the work of the enemy? Is it this? Is it that? Is the other thing? You know, and sometimes it doesn't even matter. It's just like, I'm sick and I don't feel good, and I'm all messed up, and you know, and I prayed and I prayed on it, and I was like, you know, Jesus healed the lepers, and he cured the sick, and he healed the blind, and then like I know he can fix me up. Like I know Jesus can fix me up. Like I know he can do it. And in the past few days, like I've started to feel a whole lot better. And there was like a half a week where I was praying it, but I was like, Jesus, could you maybe do it? Like, I don't really know, almost like not believing it. Like, I know Jesus, healed the sick, but, maybe he won't heal me. Like, but once I was really like, no, resolved in it. Like, no, he will do it because he loves me. And I am meant to be whole in his name, right? Like, he doesn't want his children walking around like 50 Shades of What Happened to Her. No. So I know he's going to do this for me because my God is a good God. Not because I deserve it, because I'm a dumbass. And I used a bad makeup sponge on my face for like 2 weeks without realizing it, like a dumbass. And I don't deserve it. But he did it for me, and I feel a lot better now. And it's not perfect, but I'm healing. And what actually should have happened to me is I should have gotten a fucking staph infection and ended up in the hospital, like with medical bills out the ass, because again, I'm a dumbass and I didn't sign up for my free health insurance. I don't have health insurance right now. So I should have ended up in the hospital, but I didn't. No, I didn't. I was able to kind of be a little bit miserable on the couch for a few days. And luckily, as I sat here and I tried to work myself into a tizzy despite feeling so bad, God allowed me to rest because he's good to me, right? I could have sat here and been like, I'm doing my kingdom work and like been a mess, but he was like, no, you can't be going out there, represent me like that. Like, no, you go rest. Like, the people who ordered their personals, they will understand because they are my children too. So they will see you with forgiveness and love and compassion and all things in my timing. And when they get their reading, it will be even better than before because now you will have a different level of appreciation, a different level of understanding, a different level of empathy and compassion, a different perspective than you had a week ago. It will be even better. We're going to give you this time. We're going to take this bad thing and we're going to work it for my good, meaning his good, meaning now I have a new schedule for the YouTube and for the Patreon. There's different ideas I have for content now that I'm really excited to start doing. I would have never thought of doing the mini monthlies instead of the Element by Design readings, which I think are going to be a lot better for you guys. And they're more manageable for me, and they help lead people into the Patreon where we're doing all different kinds of work, and that's really exciting too, right? But I could have sat in that energy and being like, woe is me. But instead I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to worship. I'm going to praise. Thank you for healing me before it's here. It's going to give me time to like cry out some stuff that I need to cry out and temper some anger and frustrations. I had a night here where I was just like popping off. And I was like, I know that this isn't right. And I know it's not in a good spirit, but I'm just really angry right now about this stuff, right? And he let me do it. I was like, but I'm just admitting it that I'm struggling with this stuff because it's important that you admit when you're having problems so that way you know where you need help. And thus he helped me with that, right? And so it's like there's this energy, and I feel you guys going through the same thing. There's this energy feeling like you're feeling a little hopeless. You're beating yourselves up. It's like things are coming together and they're falling apart, and they're coming together and falling apart. And it's like you feel like God's playing games with you, forgetting that God doesn't play games. He doesn't play games with anyone. If he said that he's going to do something for you, he's going to do it. Even if you did something that makes you undeserving of it, because none of us truly deserve all of God's goodness and mercy that he puts upon us each and every day. Think about every nasty little thought you had in your head, every petty little thing that popped up, right? Like, that's part of the reason why he is so much bigger. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways, because he does it better than we can. He has a capacity for love and mercy and kindness that we could barely even comprehend, right? And so there's something in that for yourself. Like you need to relax. You need to relax. Things aren't coming together and falling apart. You're like an ocean. You're ebbing and you're flowing. You're ebbing and you're flowing. He didn't forget about you. If he made you that promise, God is not a liar. He will make sure. One of the things that he does more than anything else, he always keeps his word, even if we don't deserve it. Just because no one will ever be able to say that he went back on it. No one will ever be able to say that he didn't keep his word. No one will ever be able to say that he didn't keep his promises. So he'll bless you even if you don't deserve it, just to prove the point that he is honest and true and faithful to his children. Now, does that mean we get to take advantage of that? Absolutely not, because he can delay that shit as long as he wants for you. 100%. No problem about it. You're sitting in ego, you're sitting in pride. Prophetic Drive Time said it. He's like, God loves to come and embarrass you. You're sitting on your high horse. He's got no problem kicking you right off, teach you a little humility. You come honest like a child. You come humble in spirit to the Lord, right? We don't badge ourselves with honor. No. God anoints you and whatever it is that your purpose is. Like, he cleanses you. He takes off your grave robes, as Shannon Yvette talks about. He gives you new clothes. He gives you new purpose. My purpose 2 years ago was to do nothing than be someone's little trophy wife. That was my goal. I was like, listen, I'm going to be a trophy wife. I'm going to bake pies all day. That's what I'm going to do. And you know what? I had it. It was all right there for me. And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable because that's what I thought I wanted. And that's what I thought was best for me, right? It wasn't. What was best for me, which is something I would have never thought of, but God did because he's so much smarter than me, is that, you know, he's like, no, we're going to give you a purpose where you can go out into the world out of your little hermit shell and you're going to meet people and you're going to help people and you're going to make them realize who I am. You're going to remind people every day that God is real and God is good. And you're going to work for yourself and you're going to be independent and you're going to build a future for yourself. And you know what? It's going to be hard work, but you're going to do it. And at the end of the day, you're going to be proud of yourself and you're going to know that you did it through your own work, not riding on anyone else's coattails. And it was through your hard work and it was through my glory, my blessings, my aid that you were able to do that. So no one else gets the victory. And that's what he's doing for you. Don't give up hope. Things aren't coming together and falling apart. Things are ebbing and flowing. Natural cycles. We're coming up to a full moon. It's tomorrow. Depending on where you are in the world, it could be today. It's part of the purge, right? It's part of the purge. Getting rid of the ticks that are in your environment. Getting rid of the little ticks that are hiding inside your emotional body. Don't forget, fear, anxiety, worry, they are your body's natural reactions to a foreign energetic invader. That is why love, happiness, joy, song, praise, dance, those feel so good. Those feel so light because that is your body's natural response to something that is for it. Like when you're thirsty and you need water and you're like, that's better. Right? Right. There's something to that. There's something to that. There's a lot to that. I've been going off. The light's going off. I'm going off. I don't know if I have a ton more to say, but I think we'll keep a live going for a few minutes in case I haven't looked at it. Scroll in case anyone wants to add anything, in case anyone wants to ask any questions. I don't even remember what I said. I just went to another dimension. I didn't think I was gonna be doing this morning. I was like, I'm gonna finish the mini monthlies and start on the personals. I was like, no, you're not right now. Thank you guys for joining. Flip it and reverse it. That's right, Charlize. Sheena, yeah. Oh, hi, Jilly Bean. Oh, Jay. You've been working so hard. I've been taking a peek at your Instagram. You've been working so hard. I don't know if all of it's like commissioned work that you're doing or if you're just like in the flow of it, right? Creative people, we throw ourselves into stuff to help us like work through. It's almost like how a Pisces is like an escapist, right? Artists do that too. So if, like, I find that if artists have issues things that they're working through and it seems overwhelming for them, they will throw all of it into their art because that's how they transmute that energy. I'm not necessarily like an artist in that sort of medium. I play the ukulele, I sing, I do that kind of stuff. I know I'm always singing on the channel. But there have been times like before I was back with Jesus and before I even realized God, when I had my like nervous breakdown that I talk about and I like went back to the Lord, I did it in the woods. I had like a full-blown nervous breakdown. I used to hike myself into the woods for hours and hours and I just sit there for hours and just play and just play and just play and just play. But it's how I got a lot of that energy that was like stuck inside me. That's how I kind of like released it. And you know, they talk about in the Bible when you like empty yourself, then you can like be filled with the goodness of God. So. Aw, Marquetta, you're so sweet. Thank you, Marquetta. Set intentions and believe. That's right, Charlize. Rainbow Soul, my love. My love. You're up first. Pink Peony. That's true. That's very sweet of you to say. It's very sweet of you to say, Jay. Spoken word. Spoken word. You used to do slam poetry. Back in my day, I was a big poet. I don't know if you know it. See, I'm still going. I'm still going. And I used to write a lot. I was a journalist for a period of time. I was a big writer. But then I like just refused to write. I was just like, I'm not writing anymore. So God's like, okay, you're gonna open up your mouth and talk then. I was like, oh, okay, all right. If you insist, Daddy. If you insist. So, but yeah. So there's an energy. Just don't forget, guys. Like, God is real and God is still good. God is still good. He's not wishy-washy. You know, Prophetic Drive Time said that in one of his videos. I don't know how long ago, but he's like, God's not wishy-washy. And so sometimes you get up in the morning and you're like, I feel good and I feel confident and I feel like God's like coming through for me today. And by the time you hit lunch, you're like, oh no, is he mad at me? Like, God's not wishy-washy. We're wishy-washy. He isn't. He's a constant. He's a true. We're the ones that are always like, ugh. So it's important to remember that. I don't know who this was for today. I don't know who needed this today, but it was somebody. Maybe it was all of us. Maybe it was me. I don't know. You know, I don't know. We're all so connected. We're all so connected. But I love you guys very much. Whoever this was for, I hope that it was encouraging to you. I hope I don't even really remember what I said. I hope it shook something in your spirit today and we were able to kind of hit you in a place to get you feeling like a little bit better and a little bit encouraged. You know, I'm a little bit tough love, I'm a little bit sweet love, I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll, I'm that like kind of middle ground, you know. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Oh, Sheena, I get you. I am you. You are me. Little street. I love you. I love you, Charlize. Charlize is my YouTube mom. I love her so much. So I'm gonna get to work on the rest of these mini monthlies, some of the weeklies, some of the personals. Mama's got a lot of work to do. And then it's Friday. Tomorrow is the full moon. So I will be doing a live stream tomorrow for the full moon. I'm gonna run it like the Element by Design readings, how I used to do it. So we're gonna go over general energies for the lunar shift tomorrow. And then I'm gonna pull like a couple cards for like each of the elements to see how you're gonna be dealing with it. And something that I'm probably exclusively going to be doing on the Patreon starting in November, but since we're not in November yet, I'm going to be live streaming it on the YouTube tomorrow, so that way you guys get to enjoy it as well. So tomorrow we're going to be doing the lunar live stream. Tomorrow's Saturday. Sunday we're going to do Sunday service as per usual, and then we're going to be doing collective coffee after. I guess while we're here for the last couple minutes, I'll explain some of the things that we're doing, because I posted on the community page, but I know not all of you see the community page. I don't know if all of you made it 48 minutes into this live to see the updates, but so what we're doing for the YouTube is that we are going to do weekly readings like normal. We're gonna do Sunday service like normal. I really love doing the collective coffees. They're really fun. And if I'm guided to do them on like a certain particular day, like yesterday, I wasn't planning to do it. And they were like, you do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. We're going to do it once a week. So weekly readings is normal. Sunday service is normal. And then after Sunday service, we're going to do the collective coffee live after Sunday service. So we're going to go over, after we're all nice and like nice dose of Jesus, we're going to do all 12 signs, do all the energy for the upcoming week, get everybody set, ready, in a good place. And then at the end of the month, we're going to do the little mini monthlies. So, because it's just too many variables. And then obviously, like if I'm called to like do something like this, or, you know, I show up as I'm called and guided to do so. But weekly is like normal, Sunday service like normal, and then collective coffee, we're going to do it after Sunday service on Sunday mornings, to get you set up for the week. And then if you're on the Patreon or you're interested in the Patreon, I have 2 tiers. I lowered the prices for both tiers because it felt right in my spirit. I have a honeybee tier. So what we do that is I do the daily energy Monday through Friday on the honeybee tier. And that's different. So I could pull cards. It's not like all 12 signs. It's sort of like the collective energy. It's more conversational. It could be cards, it could be scripture, it could just be open channeling, it could just be whatever downloads I'm getting, it could just, however it comes through for that day. I don't want to put God in a box. And then we're going to do the lunar shifts. They usually fall on Saturdays, but it's like every 7 or 8 days, there's the new moon, full moon, first quarter moon, third quarter moon. So we're going to be doing like the Element by Design sort of elemental reads for that, just so that way we know how everyone's like dealing with the energy. And then the honeybee tier also gets early access to the mini monthlies. So I did half of the mini monthlies. If you're already on the Patreon, you already got those in your inbox this morning. I think that's it for the honeybee tier. And then in the bumblebee tier, I do full monthly readings, like the big Monty full monthly readings. So you get that, and then you get everything else that's on the honeybee tier. So you get the daily energy reads, you get the lunar shift readings, you get the mini monthlies early, plus the full. So that's what's going on. That's the updates. We're always evolving. We're always changing. We're like a butterfly here. So shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. And oh, thank you, Charlize. You're such a blessing to me in my life. To all of us, truly. So that's what's going on. Thank you guys for being here. I love you very, very much. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this helped. I pray that this helped somebody. And I'm going to get started on the rest of the minis and the weeklies and the personals and the this and the that and the whole thing. So I'm feeling a lot better. Glory be to God. So I will see you guys very, very soon. Lunar live stream tomorrow. Goodbye. I love you.